we have started understanding about the BI environment. So BI means business intelligence. Business intelligence means what? Converting the raw data into a graphical mode. Converting the data, raw data. Raw data means what? Storing the business data in a different format of the source, like a text file, DBs. Within the DB again, they can be like Oracle, DB2, SQL Server in Excel. So like this, we can store the data in a different format. So when you have the combination of multiple sources, that source that can be like defined as in a raw data. So all the all the values finally they will be representing in the form of a text only. So that kind of text values we are pulling and we are performing some ETL operations like extraction, transformation, and load, like using one of the concept of ADF. ADF is also in a ETL product, ETL resource. So this image I can use it for an ADF project as well. So whatever the image which you are seeing on my screen is not really a just generic image. It's like your whole through the project environment, project architecture. Maybe here and there the layers would change, but throughout the BI process, either you use ETL, either we use reporting, either the combination of these two, whole the thing will happen within the same architecture. So this is not a generic image. It's like very like it's like we say it's a real time architecture in the project. So coming to now, when I say ETL, we know that we are going to start work on ADF. So what ADF exactly does means, what is the ETL flow I want to talk today. So we'll hold the concept tested last session as a demonstration we discussed with the whole BI process. Within the BI process, we had data warehouse OLAP system, and we got like reporting tools. And the end user, we are going to share those reports who are rolled as BDMs, business development managers. So this is the whole architecture of the BA. Now, today specific to, I want to restrict and I want to specifically talk about ETL. Okay, so I said in BA environment, we have OLTP, OLAP, and reporting services, something like this, right? Which is elaborated in detail. In similar way, I want to talk about ETL flow as well. ETL flow as well. So for that, I'll just open one more image, which will help me to make some save time on designing from the scratch again. But make sure if you are having any question on this part, let me know. Okay. So that just don't try to understand all the concept at once. Not only in ETL, anywhere, if you try to understand the whole concept at once, definitely you will get problems. You will face issues. So what we can do here, first of all, as I explained, like still this concept, we are not talking anything new. It is all everything, the concept yesterday we have spoken. The source systems will pull the data based on the customers and it will store in one landing area. Maybe the data can be storing in an Excel sheet, text file, XML, JSON, anything. So landing area is like maintained by the source system, source people, means the front-end developers. For example, if you take Amazon, the e-commerce website will be the input of the customers, correct or not? If you want to perform, if you want to enter some business into Amazon, means you have to use what? Your e-commerce website. The development who done on this website the data is going to enter from their system, from their website only. So that website can be configured to an Excel sheet, can configure into a text files, can be configured into XML or JSON, and or else databases like Oracle, SQL Server, any, it can be configured. So the moment the data is coming and landing, so for example, there are some use cases where the business has to pull the data. The business data has to pull into the servers. I have a scenario. For example, when you withdraw your ATM, some amount from your ATM bank account, you have having balance of 5,000 rupees in your account. For suppose I have 1,000 rupees debited and withdrawal from the ATM center. So now your transaction should be reached to the server instantly or at the end of the day. Maximum it should reach instantly, because once you withdraw 1,000 rupees, the transaction should affect in your account, reducing 1,000 and showing your balance as 4,000. It should show in your account, correct? It's not like that. Maybe it's like difficulty to maintain the transactions, correct or not? So such kind of transactions immediately they have to reach to the server. So in such cases, what we are doing, we are going to trigger this ADF flows. Means if the same concept, if you are using in ADF flow, for suppose, in such concepts, we trigger the ADF based on the transaction arrival, based on the transaction arrival. So when you withdraw some amount like that, in which file you are going to store, or with which DB you are going to store, that will be maintained by the source system. If that record is not reaching to this source systems in the landing area, that is problem from the source team. So those people have to what do we say, like rectify that problem. So once that landing area has that record, then we have to configure the ADF pipelines to go and watch if the transaction is available or not. If the transaction is available, immediately pull that into the staging area, which is the ETL first layer. ETL part is actual layer, the starting layer, for suppose. So why should we keep in staging area? Means, for suppose you have your bank account in your hometown, maybe in Andhra Pradesh, for suppose. You are doing your transactions throughout India, you are doing throughout the world as well, for suppose. Now, the same server you can configure for this whole world? No. The server reaches to some extension of location, and sometimes it may be down. So in such case, we have multiple servers within multiple locations. Okay. So now, maybe in some cases, if I configure my server with DB, it is fine. But in some cases, my DB servers are not really due to some reason. For example, there are some dangerous areas, like dangerous means like threatens. For example, Vizag, which is near to the so some like what do we say, like tuphans, like climate related affected people effect will happen more often for the nearest people for Vizag, correct or not? So in such cases, I cannot go and start my server in that areas, because definitely maybe my means most of the cases my servers will be down, shut down. So what I have to do in such cases, I'll go to a normal sources. I'll go for normal sources configuration. So it is just example I'm saying. It's not really the same way that people does. Okay, it's like an example. Don't mind. So for suppose if I have configured in the some restrictional areas like with non-DBs. For example, in Hyderabad, Sanath Nagar is the best area for data centers. Even we have Microsoft's data center. I hope so. Microsoft or Amazon, I'm not sure. One of the source, because there is no earthquakes or like some here it is not like it is a safe area to configure the data centers. So in such areas, we are going to configure the DBs. Means your data might come in the form of a text file, maybe in the form of a DB, maybe in the form of some XML. So these three different layers, because your textual data, text data type will be storing in the form of different columns. Means you have different columns. Those all columns are going to store in a format of a string. Okay, storing in the format of a string. So that I cannot pull to the target in the same way. So what I want to do, I want to rectify the such kind of errors, and that's why the different layers of sources I want to place into one particular area, that is called staging area, and this is a temporary area. Temporary area. So temporary area means the whole integration of the sources of different sources will be mapped to one particular source. For example, I configured the storage area in the Azure Data Lake storage, for suppose. So now various sources of data I got. Now the transactions having their transaction IDs, accounts and all. Now I want to validate based on the account ID, based on the customer name, based on the transaction ID. For suppose this is not relevant. It's a transaction ID based on the location. Means within this location we have the server or not. So sometimes these servers configurations will be given to the third party. So in such case, no, the third party payrolls means like it will be more cost. So in such locations, we can give some, we can charge the customer for this transactions, something we can charge. Okay, because we are paying for the third party. So that is the reason in some locations, if we are using the ATM transactions, we have to get the deduction some amount, for suppose. Such way we can do. So now these all are the validations we are doing. What validations we are doing? Whether the savings account and what kind of account it is. Means the transaction ID, if you take your ATM slip, once you withdraw ATM, you will get a slip, right? On that slip, what happens? You will get some information. Your account number with data masking, your amount withdrawal, transaction date, and the ATM ID center. Some information you will get. So those informations, it will be validated with your business master data from the client. For example, ICICI Bank is your bank. When you want to open an account, you'll go for ICICI Bank and you'll fill the free application, right? So that application data is entering into that server, ICICI server. So that is your master data. Based on that, you get an account account creation. Your account ID will be our customer, and you have the customer ID. These all things will be validated whether you are the transaction, your transaction or not. So that is one validation will happen. And once again based on the amount, balance amount, total amount, how much you have, balance amount you have, those all things will be validated. Once that validated record will be storing in the form of ODS. The validated data will be storing in the form of ODS. ODS means what? Operational data store. So whatever the data is validated and which are successfully validated and pass through the next step, those records will come and fall into this ODS. If some records are not passing the validation, they are failing, then they are going to reject here. They are going to reject. So you are doing some validation check. You are doing some ETL flow here. Using what? ADF. Using ADF only, we are going to store the data in the staging layer. Using ADF only, we are going to validate the transaction data. And that data which is validated, we are loading into the ODS. Once the ODS data is loaded, now I want to get the best customer. For example, I want to get the best customer. So how to define a best customer means there are multiple parameters, for suppose. There are multiple parameters. One thing like I have a like I have a scenario. The customers who are withdrawing the amount from my ATM centers means my customer. I am a ICICI Bank, and my customers are ICICI Bank customers, and I have a lot of ATMs placed in the market in the areas. So if these customers who are using only my ATM centers, ICICI Bank ATM centers to withdraw. So this is one of the use case. The other one, who people are taking loans and paying some interest to me, that is one more case. And the people who are saving some amount in my bank as deposits, fixed deposits who are doing, that is another case where I have to identify the best customer. So like this, there are multiple scenarios to parameters to identify the best customer. So for example, last 5 years, I want to see, means what I mean to say, when I identify the best customers, what I am going to do? I am going to attract those best customers with some more offers. Sometimes if you experienced or not, sometimes we'll get we'll receive messages from the banks. What we will receive, there is no documentation required. We will give you the personal loan or like some loans without any documents required. Do you think this message will be given to all of the customers? No, not it. There are people there, they maintain some history. They see the transactions history of that customer. If their customer is taking loan and paying the loan without any overdues or without any closings, something like, and agreements like if they are not doing, if they are paying all the amount within the time and everything is perfect, there is a good track, definitely those people will be taken as the best customers. So for them, it will offer something. So when we say documentation is required, not required, few people will be interested in getting the amount. So then they have to pay the interest. When they are paying interest, interest is what the profit on that product for the bank. So like that, they want to attract the customers based on the best customers. Based on the best customers, they want to give some offers. But this is really doing the best to the bank or not, I want to know again. What is that? I'm identifying the best customers based on some parameters. And for those customers, I am offering some additional features. And really, I'm getting both profit from it or not for doing this process. So for this all, what I need to do, I need to maintain history or not? Definitely. So to maintain history, we are going to use warehouse, data warehouse. So for that, what happens now? ADF will means within the ETL process, within the data warehouse database maintenance, we have to maintain some dimensions which maintain type 2. To maintain the history, we have to know about the dimensions. How do dimensions extract and how do the keys like fact tables will be extracted? We'll talk that. But for now, to maintain the history, type 2 is implemented. Type 2 is required. So the type 2 implementation we are going to do, and we are going to maintain the history in the form of dimensions and facts, in the dimensions and then the facts, dimensions and the facts. So that data kind of flow will be maintained where? In the data warehouse. In the data warehouse. So this whole process will be automated using the concept called ADF. I hope it's like high overview I have given you. It's not really exact scenarios that I have mentioned. Just for the time being, I have given you some examples. I hope, is it helpful? Like if you have any questions on this particular topic, you people can ask, no problem. So just I want to stick on to the ETL flow for today. For today, just we have to stick on to the ETL flow alone. I'm not talking about the BA. Once the data is set up in the warehouse, then the reporting tools will come. BA tools will come into the picture, extract the data from the warehouse, and from there they try to generate the reports. From there they are trying to convert the reports, textual data into the graphical representation. Till here, if you people have any questions. So mainly I want to focus on this part where we are going to maintain the staging area of integration of various sources, which is also called as temporary area. Why temporary area? I am just extracting the data from various sources and I am landing here, but I'm not doing anything apart from that. Right? Just is like integration we are doing. Just what data you have here, that same data will be represented in the staging area. That is like copy of the data. That's why staging area we call it as temporary memory. Okay, temporary area. So after getting all various sources types of data into one particular layer, then we are going to validate that data, whether it is validated data. We have to, because sometimes you will get some duplicates. Sometimes you will get due to server issues. Sometimes you will get like non-untransactional data. Due to some reason it will rise. So those all we have to validate, and we have to get the validated records into ODS. So validation will happen from the master data to the reference data. So master data means what? There are multiple things. For example, I'll tell you one simple example to understand what is master data and the reference data. I have one of the educational institution. And I want to book a seat. I was in counseling and I want to book a seat in one of the college, for suppose. So it's like an online application, for suppose. You have to fill an online application. Now, this educational institution and the student information, both are there, right? Student, the application got some details of the students. Most of the cases, the application will be required of the student details. Like for name of the student, what is the previous education marks, and what is the address, and what is the phone number, where they are from belongs to. This is all some information, and along with that we have one of the core thing like course, which course they want to join. Correct or not? Now, when the course student is choosing, for example, like MCA, but the educational institution also will have some information: college name, college, university, affiliated university, and who is principal and who is the management, and which area it is located, what is the area of the college occupied, and then playground, what are the facilities. These all information we will have, and within that, again, must MBA, I mean, like the educational institution also will have the details like courses offered. Within the courses offered, I have all the BTech courses, all the branches of the BTech, and I have MTech, and I have like MBA. These only I have. But now the student who is choosing MCA, it is a validated valid customer, valid student for me? No, because I don't provide MCA. If I am not providing MCA, how can I take this student information? Once the student is applying to this college, and if it is applied, and once the college has to see that information and they have to return back to the student that we are not providing the course, it is going to take a lot of time and it's a waste of time. So immediately when the online, itself online, right? So whenever the student is choosing MCA, automatically it has to throw an error. It has to go and look into the master data. So this is your master data now. I'm sorry, this is your master data. Student data is your master data. Your master data will go and look into the reference data. This is reference data from the college. So this MCA is chosen by the student, and it goes to the reference data and it will check MCA is there or not. It is not providing. Then immediately through error handling, we can just pop up a message saying that we are sorry, we are not providing this course in our college for now. So if you want to choose our college, then you have to choose like BTech, MTech or MBA. something like that, right? So this is how the master and reference data will work. Not only this, and in some other cases also we'll have. So that reference means the students whose list I'm having is 100 for suppose. If all the 100 students are related to my college courses only, what the courses I'm providing, only those courses only, then I am fine. I'm really saving a lot of time to call to these 100 people, because these 100 people are like raising a request to join in our college, my college, and they are looking for the courses which I am offering. For example, if I got 150 students and if I calling them and saying that if MCA is there, no means then if they say no, I'm looking for MCA. So if it within that 150 transactions, if 50 transactions are the same, 50 students are the same, we are wasting some time or not. So to not to waste the time on the non-transactional data, non-business data, then we save that time using this validated data. So that validated data we have to place into the ODS. Is it clear? Now, then that validated data only we are trying to maintain history. We are going to maintain history. So just quickly, if you people are fine and you are able to get the things what I am trying to explain, and if you feel comfort, let me know once that you have any questions. If you are comfortable, fine. If not, any questions if you have, you can ask. So like these 2 days will be very short class. Today also we'll have a short class. But for now, we have discussed about ETL flow. Practically, I'll show you Azure Data Factory once, how we are going to work. I hope yesterday I didn't get some time to talk on it. So next 5 to 10 minutes, I'll drop an ADF and we'll try to close the session for today. So it will be short class for next one class, but later on we'll take it over 1 hour. Okay. So just starting classes, right? We'll have short duration. Okay, then I did not see any questions from you. Really, if you feel like if you're comfortable, definitely I'm fine then. And so now I'm going to Azure Data Factory. So definitely if you want to work on Azure Data Factory, we have to get the subscription from the Azure Cloud Services. This is mandatory thing. We cannot skip. So how can we get the Azure subscription? We have one offer from Microsoft, like if you have a credit card, we can get 1 month of free trial. And free trial is nothing but Microsoft is not offering you all the resources for free. Something like amount $200 will be credited into your account, and that $200 account you can use it within like 13,000 or 14,000 closer it comes to rupees. That amount you can utilize for 1 month. That is what the meaning of the free trial, but it's not absolutely free. Means Amazon is paying for you. It's nothing but Amazon is paying for Azure on for you on behalf of when it will be paying when you have a credit card only. When you have a credit card and one Gmail account that you did not use throughout Azure anytime before. So these are the two different what do we say, like two validations that we have to pass from Microsoft. Okay, or else next you can pay the account, pay as you go. We have subscription one more. We'll talk those things in the coming sessions. When I'm starting the account of Azure, we'll talk on that. Okay. So I have one of the account on my name. I'm just logging into it. So this is also a validation check only. Whether I'm a person who already verified with the bank, I mean my numbers and all, right? So I got a code, verify it. Yeah. So this is our Azure account, Azure Cloud platform. Which is opening, which is going to open. So On top of it, you can configure any kind of resource. Either you go for a database, either you go for an any resource, something, anything you can do. Okay. So just quickly give me 1 minute. I'll just quickly give me 1 minute. I have some. Okay. In the meantime, I'll try to open this Azure account. So you have to configure the resources. How to configure the resources and how do we create a resource? These all things are the separate sessions that I had. Okay, it's not like directly I'll just open the resource and show you. It's not for now I'm doing, but in the coming sessions, very clearly we will talk about resource configuration, creation, and all. Okay. In the meantime, just give me 1 minute. I'll get. I'll come back. Just give me. Yeah. So here, this is your home page. We can say this is like our home page. So we got like home, other, and monitor and manage. So this is your version 2 of ADF. We have version 1 as well. There are some slightly the graphical user interface changes we have. Earlier, we don't have the tab like manage. We don't have this manage tab. Whatever the manage tab currently existing, few things are newly added. So if you see here, earlier we have to create the linked service connections and we have to configure the integration runtimes. And these are things we have to do earlier. So these things should be visualized in this, viewed in this other page only. But for now, we got separate tab for manage, and we can see all these things. Okay. So now these all the 4 tabs. If you are knowing each other, definitely you get some good idea. So now I got like Azure Data Factory allows the Git repository. I said no. So the main reason why we have to come to ADF, there are a lot of ADF tools on premises. We have SSIS like from Microsoft only. Within that also control activities we have, and the data flow transformations we have, like tasks we say. Tasks we have, and within the transformations we have. So now here we have the same relevant concepts, but what is the difference major means the CI/CD, continuation integration, continuation deployment. Of course, it's not same as it is like SSIS. There are a lot of changes happen in the cloud. We have to know how we have to configure the integration runtimes. IRs, one of the major concept, and how to integrate with some repository to store the code of ADF. So these all things comes into the picture. Okay. So that is the reason it is asking to set up the code repository. But for now, I did not do it. Okay, I want to do it later on. I just configured with the ADF repository itself. So if you are doing with ADF repository, it's not clearly big use we have. Again, we have to configure the repository to the Git or something. But if you're starting onwards, if you do whatever the work you are doing, those all will be configured to directly to the into the Git repository. Okay. So for now, we have, these are the some templates that which you can see, like inject, orchestrate, transform data, and configure SSIS. So these are some templates that we had. Means in order to develop the code from the scratch, if you are using these templates, automatically the generic code will be generated. Code means it's not like programming like Java or like .NET or something you have to write some coding kind of thing. It is definitely, it is a GUI. It's codeless tools, codeless resource. But whatever the code, I mean to say, even in GUI, whatever you are generating, that is also a code only, which will convert into the clusters, into the Spark code, and it will generate on the Spark cluster in ADF as well. So that is got convenient from us from the ADF that we had. We don't need to learn the code. Okay. So where the tool will do those all things. So within the GUI, it can read and it can just convert that into the graphical representation. Okay. So for now, we have like okay. So now we got that code. We have to change slightly some changes of the source system, target system, table names, something like that, and we can configure our own transformations. If you have, this is one of the way, this is the other way, this is something like we have. What are these things? I'll talk later again. Okay, but for now, as we are learners, I don't recommend to go to these templates for now. As we are learner and we are starting a new, I just recommend to go with from the scratch. You people have to start. You people have to work. So that is the reason I prefer to know what is a pipeline, how to create a pipeline, how to create data set. So you are going to be the author for these all pipelines. I mean to say, in your area of account resource, whatever you configure, you are the resource for that. And data sets we have, data flows we have, Power Query, which is from Power BI, also we can configure. Once you execute this or debug these pipelines, you might get some error messages, failures, successful, delays, lates, or something, triggers. All these things will be monitored using in the monitor tab. So here where you will get some information whether this flow is going to be successful or failure or whatever it is having, it will talk. So this is all the information that we have. So within the monitor window, we can just watch all these things. And within the manage, we can create some connections to the source system and the target system. And you can configure the IRs, integration runtimes, which is major important concept within the ADF. Without IR, you cannot run any flows, any pipelines. So by default, you will have one of the IR, integration runtime. I'll tell you a simple example to understand IR in a simple way. For example, you have so you have like one second, you have a journey, bus journey that you are doing. So your bus source linked service is one of the connectivity. When you have a ticket for that particular bus, you will see the source means your where you are getting into the bus means your source and your destination. Okay, so we have to get a so a source information, destination, where you get on will get on the ticket. So your bus ticket will represent you that you are getting into the bus in which location and where you have to get on the destination. Something like source information, target information will be maintained in the linked service. So that bus engine which you are using, or the driver, you can say the integration runtimes. To flow the data from the source to the target, we have to use means the passengers who are getting into that bus or who booked into that bus, they have to move from source to the target. So those things will be taken care by the engine, and driver is the one who will take. So that is integration runtime. Spark cluster is the engine of the ADF. Means like for a bus, how the engine will be there. So that driver, who is the driver, like integration runtime. So just to map some general thing to the technical terms, I'm just trying to do that. Okay. So for here, I'll just stop for today, and these things practically I'll try to implement in the tomorrow session. One of the flow we'll try to implement and see the practicality, and we'll see next creation of Azure Cloud Services account as well. Okay, from tomorrow also is one of the generic class to just get hands on the basic concept of Azure. Later on, we will start the day-to-day sessions. Okay, after tomorrow's session. So we are going to configure the sources and all everything. Fine. So any questions if you have, you can ask. Else you people can quickly leave. We can talk on next session. That is tomorrow. Okay. So if you don't have any questions, you people can leave then. Okay. I'm just stopping here. Must screen share also will stop.